Hello, today we will be doing an electric water heater testing procedure. There are 6 main components that make an electric water heater operate. There's a power supply, high temperature reset, upper thermostat, upper heating element, lower thermostat, lower heating element. We will begin by removing the covers on the electric water heater. When removing the access covers, take note of any stickers or labels that are in place. Remember to use caution because electricity is present at this time. Now that the covers have been removed, we can begin the electrical testing. I recommend using a digital volt ohm meter. For this portion of the testing, we will select voltage AC. We will begin by checking the voltage on the top terminals of the upper thermostat. We're going to be looking for approximately 240 volts. We have approximately 240 volts. Had 240 volts not been present, possible things to look for are a failed electrical connection, possible utility load control, tripped circuit breaker, or blown fuse. To continue with the upper thermostat testing, we will then move to the load side of the high temperature reset terminals. Again, we will be looking for 240 volts, which we have. Had 240 volts not been present, the high temperature reset button would have been tripped. To reset, light pressure makes it click like that. Moving forward, we will then check the operation of the thermostat. We will measure across the heating element, looking for 240 volts. We will turn the thermostat to its highest setting to initiate a heat call. We now have 240 volts there. Turning it down takes the voltage away, means a fully functional upper thermostat. Now power has been diverted to the lower thermostat, and we will continue checking the same procedure. Measuring across the element terminals, looking for 240 volts. Turning the thermostat to its highest setting. We have 240 volts present as well. Turning it back down removes power from the element. This indicates fully functional upper and lower thermostats. Next portion of the electric water heater testing, we will test the upper and lower heating elements for correct operation. For this part of the test, we will use our amp meter. Select AC amps, clamp on to one of the incoming leads feeding the upper element. Turn the thermostat to its highest setting to initiate a heat call. We're looking for between 17.5 and 18.5 amps. This one's drawn 17.7 amps. This heating element is currently heating. Turning the thermostat back to its lowest setting will take power away from the upper heating element and divert power to the lower heating element. We will continue testing in the same procedure. Clamp on to one of the incoming leads. Turn the thermostat to its highest setting. And again, looking for 17.5 to 18.5 amps. These heating elements are heating correctly. This portion of the water heater testing, we will then test the upper and lower heating elements. To test the upper and lower heating elements, you will need to measure the resistance. First, we must disconnect the electricity to the water heater. The original installer of this water heater labeled which panel and circuit it was fed from. Panel H1, circuit 1012. We will then go to the electrical panels, looking for panel H1, circuit 1012. Water heater turning off. We will next verify no voltage is present at the water heater. No voltage is present. We'll then check to ground across both terminals. Now we can safely disconnect the wires to the upper heating element, where we can then measure resistance. A 4500 watt heating element should read approximately 13 ohms of resistance. We'll select ohms on our digital meter and measure across the terminals of the element. This element is reading correctly. To measure a failed heating element, you would measure to ground. Anything other than 0 means a shorted heating element. We will then measure the lower heating element in the same procedure. Disconnect the wires. Measure across the two terminals. Again, looking for approximately 13 ohms of resistance. 12.9 ohms is acceptable on a 4500 watt heating element. Had any of the components failed and needed replacing during the electric water heater testing, it is important to replace the components with the exact equipment the manufacturer installed originally. For instance, this upper thermostat has a rating stamped into the top of it of 170 degree maximum temperature. If one of the heating elements had failed and needed replacing, to replace those, you must first turn the water supply to the water heater off and drain the water heater. To drain the water heater, there's a valve located on the bottom. Opening this valve will allow water to drain from the water heater. Once the water heater is drained, you can then remove the faulty heating element. Once the heating element is removed, inspect inside of the tank for corrosion or sediment that needs to be flushed out. Once you install the new heating element, close the valve on the bottom, open the water supply valve at the top of the water heater, and open a hot water faucet somewhere in the house and let water flow until water flows smoothly without air. After making the necessary repairs to the electric water heater, it is important to verify the settings are where they were in the beginning. The upper thermostat at a setting of medium, the lower thermostat at a setting of 140 degrees. Now you can safely close all the covers and re-energize the water heater. This concludes our electric water heater testing procedure. Thanks for watching.